So here's what I came up with. After looking at this thing for a long time, I was able to fit a linear bearing and a linear rail up front here and keep the geometry all the same. You can see we kept that same base plate. This is where their springs were attached to, and that's the original base plate. So the geometry is all the same, and everything fits inside of that existing framework. Basically, after I noticed the tensioner bolt was dead center of the gearbox, you can see it right there. It became clear that all I really needed was an idler wheel on the inside to keep the side load off the gearbox and the slide assembly. To be extra cautious that no binding could occur, I changed the gearbox mount to accommodate master number 9215T22. Let's just pull this out of there. That's this carriage right here. That's good for 5,200 pounds of dynamic load. I am somewhat concerned that the rollers will not see enough movement because Bosch recommends that the course of a cycle should make the rollers do a complete loop in the housing to aid with lubrication. I did face the grease fitting down. So if somebody was determined you could support you'd have to support the motor in the gearbox with a jack stand or something because it's just going to freely fall down. But if you took that off, if you took this tensioner assembly off, then this whole thing would fall out. But if you supported it, then you could get at that grease fitting. I don't think that we're going to have a problem because the linear bearing is a cylindrical roller design, and it's good for 5,000 pounds. I think that with the speed at which that thing moves, it's 3/8 of an inch. Even if it was bone dry, I just think it would still. I just can't imagine those cylindrical rollers seizing up inside that housing. I managed to fit the linear carriage and the rail mounts into the existing infrastructure. So if we look at this closer, let's pull this out here. So everything fits down inside of what was already there. I'll pull this up. And you can see a little better there. So that'll fit down inside of what's already there. And then this mount is a welded assembly. I got a little lip on the front there for some weld, and had to put notches in here to get it around this piece here. But everything fits and should have plenty of room to slide around. I'll come by today and show you the drawings in whatever format you need, assuming we go with this design. So the idler wheel, I think that's going to necessitate the need for a custom shaft. I kind of hate to say it, I was trying to find stuff that was all in stock somewhere. But if you look at the way this thing is, there's just very little room between the end of the shaft and that existing infrastructure. I just don't think there's enough room there for a shaft collar like I used on everything else, and like you guys have used. I like the shaft collars, but I just don't think it's going to work here. There's just not enough room. So instead, I went ahead and drew up what I'm imagining as a hardened drive shaft, because I've got a needle roller bearing inside. Let's pull out the thrust bearing. And then let's see, I got a needle roller in there. I didn't want to have to go with a shaft liner. So I didn't want to have to go with the shaft liner. So instead I went with only the needle roller bearing. The Master 8258K26. That's good for 9,000 pounds. I would think that that's plenty. I don't think we need to press up. You know, you got two shafts or two wheels there holding the load, so that would be 18,000 pounds of force pressing up. That should be good enough. So if I make this shaft heat treated, I don't have to use a shaft liner. We can keep this thing the same size all the way through, so there's no weak points. I felt like we needed a thrust bearing on both sides. So you'll see I got another thrust bearing here as well. And I did a different drawing for that wheel as well, so you know how deep to bore the recesses for the thrust bearings. I think we can have this made today, though. I know a shop that sends out heat treat every day, so we could make this out of S7 material and have it heat treated today and be ground and finished up tomorrow, if that's the pace that we want to go on. The thrust bearings are McMaster 6655K24. They're not very high capacity. They're only 95 pounds dynamic and 540 pounds static. But those bearings are only going to see the RPM difference between the inner and the outer circumferences of the path of the wheels that they're on, that the path of the wheels are on. I did the math, and that works out to 2 RPMs. So we're nearing the static load capacity of 540 pounds, and I felt a lot better about that. Plus, I'm not sure that 95 pounds of thrust, we're going to ever exceed 95 pounds of thrust there on that such a large circumference. If we're still concerned about the overhung load that the motor is causing, there is room in the back here. Put that back together. So there's still room here between the motor mount and the frame that we could mount another set of linear bearings or just one other linear bearing. But I thought Randy brought up a good point when he said that out in the field, the odds of us getting everything mounted, we'd have to drill some holes into this framework here. And the odds of us getting that mounted in such a way that it doesn't fight this new linear bearing and carriage at the front are pretty low. So I'd rather not do that if we don't have to. But that all assumes that this is the design we're going to go with anyway. So let me know what you guys think. Thanks.